Hey everyone, it's Yusuf. I just want to set the record straight about some things. Straight up front, I want you to know that my past is not full of squeaky cleanness. Matter of fact, it's horrible, and there's a lot of things that I've come out of that I protest against now. So I want you to understand that anything that I post, that I share, is really coming from my heart, and I'm not talking down to anyone. And the things that I get most indignant about are the ideologies that once trapped my mind, those strongholds, the brainwashing. I come from people, I'm anti-military. I am, although I love people in the military. I love veterans. I mean, I am one. I'm a United States Marine Corps veteran. So I love these folks. What I don't love is war. What I don't love is is militarism and politicians sending young people to needless wars, getting them killed, having them kill others, bullying people around the world. It's just straight up wrong. I come out of Zionism. I was my formal theological training was deeply rooted in Christian Zionism. I went and got another degree after that from another seminary because I didn't like that education. Once my mind was enlightened, and the more I studied, and I have over 30 years of intensive study on this topic of Zionism. And in studying Palestine and the history of Israel, and so this is something. I'm not coming to you as a novice. I don't claim to know it all. I'm no Edward Said or Ilan Pape by any stretch of the imagination, but I do with what I can with what I know. I also come from Portuguese descent, and there's also other mixtures in there, but I come from colonizers and slave traders. I live on stolen land where there was genocide here in the United States, where there was slavery. Now, I personally didn't have anything to do with that, but I can make sure that I am a voice in this generation and hopefully speak to future generations to put an end to all of that and to love people who have been oppressed. I know what it is. Israelis, I understand what it is to live in a place that was stolen. Okay? I have friends, white friends, who were born in South Africa by no choice of their own, just straight up born there, don't know of any other home. Okay? Australia, think about that. A penal colony. Great Britain sends their prisoners there. Okay, the worst of the worst, supposedly, out to a penal colony out in Australia. What happens to the Aboriginal people? So there's a lot of us, so many of us, especially us white people, are in places by no choice of our own, but we're here. Okay. But I'm no longer, I've never, again, I don't participate in slave trading. I'm not oppressing indigenous Americans, First Nations people. I'm totally against that, and I'll stand with them. I've stood with people of African descent in the United States and abroad. That's been a large part of my life in ministry. I've spent a good amount of time in Africa. I've been an associate minister in an African American church. I've served amongst these people and loved them and learned so much from them. Matter of fact, I got so much more from people in Africa and people of African descent in the United States than I have ever blessed them with. That's a fact. And the same holds true with Palestinians. That's Christian, Muslim, or otherwise. You folks are so wonderful and just love people with open arms. That's something about the African American tradition of love and forgiveness. You follow, people like Dr. Cornel West and James H. Cone, and so many others. It's a message of love. It is a message of resilience. It's a message of suffering and then loving your oppressor. It's just so beautiful. I got this my good friend who was shot in the chest by Israelis out of a tank while he was getting flour, trying to get flour from his family. He was a Muslim. I talked to him a lot. We had video chats often. And he always spoke of peaceful coexistence. He always, said, I want you to know, we're not very fond of your government and the things that they've done to us, but we love American people. We love all people. And all that brother ever cried for was peaceful coexistence. So yeah, do I identify a little bit with Israelis who were born there of no choice of their own in Palestine? Yes, I do. But stop. Somebody's got to say stop and put an end to this madness. See, it's been 76 plus years, but there are people right now who still have keys to their homes in Palestine. So this is in occupied Palestine, right? That's all of it, as far as I'm concerned. That's every last bit. And so when we're talking from the river to the sea, unless you are a homicidal, genocidal sociopath, one people's liberation doesn't mean another people's extinction, unless that's the way that you've been wired or brainwashed, or the way that you think of other people. And let's say that's coming from your own fears, your own assumptions, your own brainwashing. I can assure you of that. But this has been, what happens is people just forget about things. Oh, well, it's been how many years? And then they just, what colonizers long for is just people to be ethnically cleansed, or for the whole thing just to be forgotten about and swept under the rug. But this thing is so recent, and something can be done about what's happening in Palestine. Like these other things can't change. Okay, there's a lot that was changed through the Truth and Reconciliation Commission with the beautiful things that happened when apartheid ended in South Africa. Yet I've been to South Africa. There's still so much disparity with the haves and have-nots, and who has certain jobs, who doesn't, the very rich and the very poor. So there's still the after effects, the generational trickle-down effect. And it's the same thing here in the United States with slavery, with Jim Crow, with redlining, with so many other things. And people don't want to recognize that, but we need to recognize that and stand for people, stand for everyone, love everyone. And of course, I love Palestinians. I love Israelis too. And there are so many righteous Israelis. There are, who are standing for Palestinian rights and for one state with liberty and justice, equal justice for all, for a true democracy. And that's a wonderful thing. So what I'm saying is, let's stand for justice. Let's stand for love. Let's stand for righteousness. Man, you can't right every wrong, but you can live in the moment and love in the moment and bless your neighbor in the moment. This is the whole thing, is love people. Okay. Again, I empathize with people who were born in a place and it was no choice of their own. Okay. Now, the settlers that come from Brooklyn over there, that's a choice of their own. Those people weren't born there. And Jesus loves everybody. I do too. I can't help it. That's just part of what comes with being a Jesus follower. It's like God has no choice. He has to be omnipresent. He can't not be. There's nowhere that he cannot be. He transcends the universe. So as a follower of Jesus, you love. That's just who you are. And you love everybody. You love your enemies. You love your worst enemies. And that's what we're called to. But that's what I'm saying is the antithesis of much of what the American church believes and practices and preaches, because it is so warmongering and really not loving the neighbor at all. So there again, I empathize with people, but regardless of what state you're in at the moment, let's right the wrongs. And again, these wrongs can be righted. These students are seeing this. Students in the United States and all over the world with these encampments. It's amazing. It is wonderful. So let's do the right thing. Yes, boycott, divestment, sanctions. Let's do everything we can peacefully to change this thing. you are up against a nuclear power. You're up against a heavily militarized force with it seems like a bottomless income from a United States sugar daddy. But that can't last forever. It really can't. The world is changing, and it's time to do the right thing. It's time to stand with the oppressed wherever they are, to love them. And no, you can't go back. I can't go back and fix slavery. I can't go back and fix colonization or things my ancestors do, but I can right now in May 25th, 2024 at 6:26 p.m. Eastern time. I can love people. I can love all people. I can not oppress people and hate people and stereotype people and demonize people and dehumanize people. That's not what we're here for. It's not what we're placed here for. We weren't created for that. And if we look, I believe if every human being looks deep enough into who they truly are, I believe that you will find love beyond all those layers of fear, of hatred, of paranoia, and this hyper sense of self-preservation, and everybody is out to get you. We've been taught that the boogeyman overseas, everybody, the Arab stereotypes and just all the stereotypes in this world that are horrible, the Islamophobia, all of this stuff has just got to end. And the ignorance ends when we love each other, when we sit at the table with each other, we converse with each other. The world is smaller now. We've got the internet. You can converse with people. Just this week, I spoke with people from like 6 different countries on video chats, edifying conversations, at least a half hour or so each. And they were amazing, great to talk to. I study the cultures. I want to know what's going on. I've watched videos to educate myself. I'm always educating myself and keeping myself up to speed with what's happening. You won't get that with the American media. You're going to have to dig a little bit. But I tell you what, I know there's a lot of prejudice up there. Put your guard down. Watch Al Jazeera live English on YouTube, and I'm telling you, the videos don't lie. The pictures don't lie. When you see the things that are happening, these atrocities, this is stuff that can't be staged. The devastation is so horrible, and the testimonies are matching those of people with social media on the ground and their reports to their friends, which I am one, and family. So I highly recommend that, that you learn your history or get with somebody who does know the history or can get you the right resources so that you can learn what's really happening. Because the average American especially is, when it comes to the Palestinian situation, is really so theologically and historically ignorant. And I'm not saying that, I'm not punching down. No, I've been there. But I'm telling you, what we've learned in church, through the news, if you've gone to the kind of churches that I did and studied where I did, you've been taught wrong. You've been brainwashed by people working for the military industrial complex, people who do not have your best interest in mind, the best interest of the troops. And I used to be a troop. So no, study, learn, inbox me. I'll be glad to video chat with you. Nothing has to be a debate. Nothing has to be recorded. No fanfare. I've helped a lot of people. They'll send me a message and say, hey, I'd like to talk. And we have a video chat. It's absolutely wonderful. I'll be glad to do that with you if you want to be up to speed. And like I say, I'll point you to people who are a lot smarter and a lot more knowledgeable and have firsthand experience, okay, that I don't. But it's no longer an excuse to be ignorant. We can see what's happening there. The students are seeing it. They're speaking up, and it's time for all generations to do that. And to the young people, God bless you. What you're doing is absolutely wonderful. Just deeply, deeply appreciate you. And again, Palestinians, love you. All people, love you. Just love you, love you, love you. And there can be peaceful coexistence all over this earth. I believe that wholeheartedly, that world peace is not only possible, it is inevitable. And I think this next generation is really going to carry that torch. God bless you. Love y'all.